Alright, so today we're going to be talking about rates. That's our next section in the unit. It's lesson 1.5. So let's get to it. First of all, let's talk about what a rate actually is. By definition, a rate is an ordered comparison of two amounts. So you've got two amounts, they have to be in a certain order. So for example, $1.38 for a dozen eggs, those are two amounts. $40 for 15 gallons of gas. 250 miles in 4 hours, and 300 millimeters of rainfall in 6 months. So two amounts that are being compared. All right, the most common rate that we talk about has to do with the distance, speed, and time triangle. So here is what they look like. And if you look at the first triangle, the finger is pointing to the S. And so whatever you want to calculate, you point to that letter, and then the arrangement of the other letters shows you how to calculate it. So if I wanted to calculate speed, like in the first example, that would be d over t, because the d is over the t. In the second triangle, if I wanted to calculate d, the distance, I point to that letter, and I notice that the other two letters are right beside each other, so I'm going to multiply them. So distance would equal speed times time. And then in the last example, if I want to know the time, then I point to the t and I look at the arrangement of the other two letters. Well, d is over the s. So to calculate time, I'm going to do distance d over speed s. So that's kind of a shortcut to figure out how to find distance or speed or time when you already have the other two pieces of information. Okay, so for example, how fast could you go to, or how fast could you travel to go 300 miles in 6 hours? So how fast, that indicates a speed. So I want to know speed, so if I point to the S, then I will notice that D is over T, 300 is over 6, so that's 50 miles per hour. How far could you travel in 3 hours if you go 70 miles per hour? That's a distance, so I will multiply the speed and the time. So 70 times 3 gives me 210 miles. And lastly, how long would it take to go 450 miles at 45 miles per hour? That's a time, so I'm going to divide the distance and the speed to get 10 hours. Okay, and then there are unit rates. A unit rate is basically one in which the second quantity is a 1, or the denominator if you're actually writing it as a fraction. So, and they are expressed as some unit per some other unit. You've heard of dollars per hour, miles per gallon, calories per serving, and so on. So, some examples of that. If I had 2 pounds of berries for $3, then I would divide 2 by 3, or the other way around, depending on whatever they wanted to know. I would take the $3 and I would divide it by 2, and I would get $1.50 per pound. If I have 180 millimeters of rainfall in 2 years, then if I divide those two, I get 90 millimeters of rain per year. If I travel 240 miles with a full 12-gallon gas tank, then that is going to be 20 miles per gallon. So those are just some examples of how you would divide two units to get the unit rate. So if you have any other questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow.